League of Legends is a game filled with characters who embody real-world beliefs. Lux radiates hope and a brighter tomorrow. Soraka represents compassion and selflessness. But League is not a positive game. It harbors pain, darkness, and true evil. I seek to find where the top laners fit in this spectrum and consider questions such as, would Demacians be modern-day Nazis? Should Yordles care about human war crimes? Is Cho'Gath even capable of comprehending oppression? All of this and more, starting right now. Okay, let's start. So Aatrox, I think 100% a Nazi. The way that guy talks about the whole like demon, thing and the strong will survive and all that, he's 100% gonna be like a super soldier for those guys, no doubt about it. Now Camille, on the other hand, I think she is a similar vein where she's definitely like up there. Like the whole robot master race thing, of course, she's gonna be up there. Like it's not necessarily that she's like, she hates Jewish people, but it's more just like she identifies a lot with like a fascist type government, Akali, on the other hand, I think she would be on the good side, but she's not going to actively fight. She's going to be out for herself. Like it's not really her people. I think that she cares about people, but she's mostly going to make sure that she's safe and chilling. So I think she would probably be against it, but not speak out. Cho'Gath, dude, I don't know if this guy can like comprehend ideology. I think he wouldn't have like ideas. He would just kind of just be there, I guess that makes him go in the would not resist Nazi rule category, because he would just kind of like, he would care about himself and just make sure he's chilling. And I guess that like he probably does really well when there's war going on. It's more people to like, eat and murder. I don't really have a good idea of his backstory actually, but I'm assuming he would do very well in wartime. So I think he would not resist Nazi rule. Darius, dude, this guy also like hardcore god at the Nazi era. But the thing is, I think he also does really well during the war, but he's out on the front lines 100%. Actually, then again, Noxus is about like this, whoever's the strongest, no matter who they are, like would do well. So I think actually, now I think about it, he wouldn't be a Nazi, because Nazis, like, they view everybody as like, there's a specific group of people that are bad no matter what, but Noxus, like, they're big and aggressive, but if you're strong, even if you're Jewish, you'll do well in Noxus. So I think he would protest Nazi rule. Actually, he'd fight for the Allies. I think that he would probably be the first person to oppose Nazis purely because they don't care about the strong. They just think there's one type of strong person. And that's kind of like anathema to what Noxus cares about. Now, Dr. Mundo, oh my god, this makes me think about those crazy like Nazi doctors doing the experiments and stuff. I don't really know how like sentient he actually is. I'm thinking he would also really want to have just crazy experiments and war going on, because it would give him like, people to experiment on to do that. I think that he would probably help the Nazis find traitors and hope that they give him like a good lab and rewards for doing that. Fiora, okay, this one seems pretty obvious. She would fight for the Allies 100%. It's just like Demacians, like they're good people. Like I know there's the whole like oppressing magic thing. So actually, how much are the Demacians like Nazis? Do I need to think about that at all when doing this? No, they gotta be against Nazis, right? There's no other way. I'm gonna say she's a soldier. She's a soldier, actually. Maybe she follows orders. Oh, dude, this is hard. I think she's gonna be put in both sides of pros and cons for now. Maybe I do another evaluation, but probably not. Gangplank's out for himself, 100%. He's gonna go wherever the money is, wherever is the time for war. I think that he would be against it, but probably not speak out. Then again, maybe he wants money. Maybe he wants getting paid. Dude, I don't want to put Gangplank in this category. I don't want to put him with the Nazis. But I think he'd do well with their type of style, He wants to round people up. He wants cash. Yeah, I'm sorry. Gangplank would help Nazis. Garen, okay, same problem with Fiora, but I think Garen's a bit more noble, and I think Garen cares a bit more about what's right, than Fiora. So I think he's probably gonna protest or he'd fight for allies. I'll put Garen in fighting for allies. Weird that Garen and Darius are in the same category. I'm not going to think about that. Gnar, dude, does Gnar have like, can Gnar also comprehend this stuff? I don't know how much the Yordles care about what's going on, because the Yordles like live in their own little island thing, right? Are the Yordles just gonna like ignore it entirely? Yeah, as long as the Nazis don't invade Bandle City, the Yordles probably wouldn't care. Yeah, he's probably just chilling in Bandle City and letting Nazis do what they want, as long as they don't mess with them. Alawi, okay, she's all religious stuff, she's the whole like octopus mother thing going on. She probably resists Nazi rule, because I feel like they probably would clash with her own religious beliefs and stuff. I don't know much about the Ouroboros stuff that's going on with her, but I assume that it teaches good values. She would probably protest Nazi rule. Aurelia would probably also be against Nazis, and similar to Akali, but I think she cares a lot more about the people. She'd either fight or protest Nazi rule. For now, she'd protest. Jax, dude, Jax is a Chad. 100% Jax fights for the allies. I don't see any other way around it. Like, he cares about what's right. You know, I know he's not, like, super outspoken about stuff. There's no way I can put my man Jax in the wrong category. Jace, 100%. The defender of tomorrow. That seems like right there. Tomorrow, the Nazis want to make tomorrow bad. 100% Jace is against Nazis. I think Kale would definitely protest it. I don't know how, like, noble she is. She probably fights it. I'll put her in protest, though. Kennen cares about the Kinky Order. He cares about his own people a lot, too. I'm gonna say I think he's gonna go in would protest Nazi rule as well. Dude, Gnar's already racist. I feel like Gnar is gonna be a Nazi 100%. Like, he's a country guy. I don't know how country. Like, what is the line between being like a southern racist and being a Nazi? I feel like that's very thin. He'd pog out with the Nazis, or he's a Nazi. Actually, maybe he would. Yeah, he'd probably help the Nazis. Dude, Lilia would be sad about it. But Lilia's also like a scared little thing. I think she would be against it, but she'd be like, you know, it's bad. But she wouldn't, like, you know, stop it. Malphite, I don't want to put him in either category because I don't think he cares. I think Malphite is just kind of like, you know, the things are just going on. He either win or protest, or you think both sides got like, you know, their own positives and negatives. For now, I'm gonna put Malphite in the middle because I think it's just like below his earthly values. You know, like, the humans do what they want. It's not even like he doesn't care. Same with Maokai. I mean, honestly, I don't know how much the Nazis care about the environment. I assume both sides were super bad to the environment with bombs and stuff. I assume Maokai is just protective most of tree life. So he probably is against war, and because that's going to be super toxic, I assume he wants war not to happen or be over really quickly. So he'd be not against, he would definitely not fight for anybody. He would not resist Nazi rule. I'm sorry, Maokai. Wukong's a fighter. He just wants to be in the battle, and I think he's a good guy. I feel like it's just as simple as that. He's just, you know, he wants to fight. He's fighting for the allies. Mordekaiser, honestly, maybe similar thing. He wouldn't help the Nazis find traitors or anything, but he just wants to, like, go hard. Maybe Mordekaiser likes the idea of there being conflict. I think Mordekaiser would probably think both sides of pros and cons. Nasus? Dude, Nasus scales. Does that, like, matter about any of this? I guess Shurima itself is already pretty much like a kingdom. He probably would be on the side of the Nazis, maybe. I mean, he's definitely like a royal dude. I don't think he's like as deep into it as his brother may be about like being super Shuriman and stuff. I don't know enough about the lore, but I assume like he would not resist Nazi rule. He's doing his own thing. Ornn likes war, but I can't see him being a bad guy. I think he'd protest Nazi rule, if not helping directly fight. Poppy, dude, Poppy's fighting for a hero. I don't see anywhere else she could be but fighting for the allies. It's as cut and dry as that. Quinn's definitely a scout for the allies as well. I'd say so. I don't know how, like, flighty she is. You know, maybe she doesn't really want to be in the combat because she's like a little scout. I think I'll put her in the allies. Renekton, dude, Renekton's a Nazi. And then Riven, I mean, I think Riven needs to be somewhere in the middle. Nah, she'd probably be on the good side because Riven was like Noxian, but then she like got turned around, right? Noxian. I think Riven like would probably be a good guy. I think she'd protest Nazi rule because she's hung up the war cloak. I wouldn't think she fights, but she's definitely not going to be down for Nazis. I think Gnar is probably going to be somewhere in the middle too. Like, Gnar's just out for himself and fragging, you know. He probably likes war, but honestly I feel like he'd also not care that much about which side he's fighting on, so he's probably gonna think both sides of pros and cons. Set, dude, Set's also a war dude, but Set's such a goat right there. He's a mama's boy, you know. He's a nice dude. He cares about the strong, but he cares about the little guy. I think Set would protest Nazi rule. I don't think Set could support the big government of fighting with the allies, but Set's definitely not down for Nazis. Shen's similar. I don't think Shen would be a positive Nazi supporter or anything. But he loves his friends, but I don't think he's going to be fighting for the big ally team either. He'd probably support his friends if they fought, but I don't think he would. Singed, dude. Singed is the chemical, like, war people. He's experimenting on the Allies, 100%. He's helping the Nazis. Sin doesn't care about the Nazis specifically, but if the Nazis let him get more people to experiment on, he'd be down. He's helping the Nazis find traitors. Scion is also an experiment of the Nazis. I think he would be a Nazi if he can comprehend that type of stuff, but for now, he's just like a dumb dude who wants to kill people, so he'd probably help the Nazis find traitors. Silas, of course, is going to be against any sort of authoritarianism. So Silas is gonna, like, the whole chain thing, I've been started playing Mage Seeker actually, it's pretty good, but he wouldn't want to be on either side, you know, because he also doesn't like the nobles. I don't see in any way of him standing by and fighting with Garen and all the good guys, but he's definitely not a Nazi. I think he'd protest Nazi rule or do his own, like, vigilante way of fighting. Dude, Teemo, like, easy click Nazi category, is it that simple? Yeah, it's that simple. Tryndamere is fighting the Nazis. I mean, he's got such a rage that I feel like there's nothing else he can do. I feel like he probably doesn't like Nazism, but he also just loves war, and he's got to direct all that rage into some sort of outlet, and that's going to be murdering Nazis. Urgot's got to be a Nazi. I assume like he's like some evil experiment or something. No, he'd probably resist it. He probably is just like doing his own thing. He probably is doing bad stuff, but I don't think it's Nazi related. I think he just doesn't really care what's happening in that part of the world. Vane's stopping Nazis, but I think similar to Silas, she's a vigilante. Like she's not a big, like, you know, I'm gonna help Garen and all the good guys stop the Nazis, but she also is not down for Nazis either. She's probably doing her own stuff, honestly. How much does she actually care about the war going on? She's doing her own thing. She probably doesn't care that much about how the world around her changes. She's just like a contract killer, you know? I don't think that she's gonna care about who the president is. I think she's against it. No. She's gonna be against it, but doesn't really care that much. Vladimir's royalty, which honestly probably makes him, like, he just doesn't want his personal, like, lifestyle and like, you know, standard of living to be upset by anything going on. He doesn't want any sort of change. He wants to keep going with what's going on. If that's chilling with the Nazis, it's chilling with the Nazis. If the Allies win, it's the Allies winning. So I think he's just going to be on whichever, he's an opportunist. He's just going to be on whichever side ends up winning. Volibear, I think similar to Malphite, he's not really caring that much about, like, earthly things going on, you know, he's dealing with his own stuff. He's probably against it morally, but he doesn't care that much. Yasuo, vigilante thing similar, but he's definitely gonna he'd probably side with the Allies if he had to, just because he wouldn't be against Nazis. You know, in Ruined King, he fights with, like, other people, so I think Yasuo would probably, like, begrudgingly probably work with the Allies. I think Yone, I don't know if he's that dedicated as Yasuo, but I'll put him pretty close to. He wouldn't like Nazis, but he's probably got his own stuff going on. Yorik's similar to Malphite and Volibear. He's, you know, the whole graveyard, you know, transporter thing. I don't really know that much about his lore, but I assume he's just dealing with the undead stuff. So maybe that's good. Maybe he wants more people dying. Maybe that, like, helps him get the ghouls and the souls and stuff. I think that he probably is going to be stuck in the middle of, like, you know, war's pretty good for him, for business, you know? I think both sides probably have pros and cons for him. All right. So I think that overall, this went a lot different than I expected it to do. I thought that it would be a bunch of Nazis and a bunch of not Nazis, but honestly, the League of Legends roster, a lot of people probably just don't care or can see the positives and negatives of either side. There's so many people in League of Legends where it just feels like they don't care about ideology. They're just dealing with their own thing. And honestly, I think that's kind of beautiful. And not the Nazi part, but I think it's nice that there's, like, so many different types of mentalities represented. All right. I'll see you next time.